Hey guys, welcome back to the Free Life Agents podcast. I have a really special guest again with me here today. She is in the real estate industry and has been helping out a lot of agents with her company. And you're going to hear a little bit more about her background and what she's doing and how she's helping a lot of agents really around the country right now with their sales and lead generation and all. But without further ado, I do want to introduce my guest today. She is the owner of one of the top real estate agent marketing companies in the entire North America right now. But please welcome my guest, Kaitlyn Webb. Welcome to the podcast, Kaitlyn.
Awesome. Super excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super excited to have you on the show and hear more about what you do for agents and see if there's any listeners out there that can get a lot of information and value from what you have to say today. So yeah, I'm super excited as well. So, I mean, for those who don't know who you are and don't know about your company, would you just mind kind of introducing yourself a little bit to our listeners out there? How you got into the industry, what you do, and a little bit about the success that you guys have been having with some of your clients as well.
Absolutely. So I'm the owner and founder of Clicks to Closings, as he said. And we have been just super passionate about the real estate industry for a while now. Me personally, I've always been interested in real estate, thought about becoming an agent, but realized I just had an amazing background in, specifically digital marketing and lead generation. And in doing a lot of my research, and really just talking to agents, what's working for them, what's not working for them, I realized there was just a very large gap in the market in terms of producing, lead generation and digital marketing services for agents that, number one, actually work, that actually produce an ROI and actually make the agent's life easier, not harder. So all those things put together is what really made our system and what we do what it is today. Because we talk to so many people that have all these leads but don't know how to convert them, or they're just not qualified, or they're coming from different agents or different areas outside the market, or they have to be on their phone all day to click the lead so no one out of their competitors get it, or they call a lead and 10 other agents have gotten it. So all these things just really made us want to bring a solution that actually works for real estate agents. And so we've been doing this for several years. We've spent a ton of money on all these digital platforms, generating opportunities for our clients. The four main ones that we use is Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube, just because of the amount of traffic that's on there. TikTok is definitely on the rise as well, and going to be adding that platform as well. But really, our whole purpose is to, most agents want one thing. They want more deals, they want more closings, they want more listings. Okay. So that's a nice thing to have, but that's not an actual goal. So what we have to do is work backwards. So when we have a goal that's an end result, what leads to that goal? And we realized that the pathway to more closings, more listings, more GCI, there's a pathway to get there that starts with more people in your database, more people in your pipeline. The more people in your pipeline that you have, and then the more appointments you should have. And the more appointments you have, the more closings, the more GCI, the more things you can generate on the monetary side. And obviously the sales process has to be worked on consistently. And that's something we coach our clients on, is how to actually convert and talk to these people. But every goal has a pathway to get there. And so, you don't want to just have a random goal that's like, oh, I want to get more. You have to have a specific goal and then work backwards and understand the things that are missing in order to get to that goal. So I know that was a lot of explanation, but hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does make sense. And I think you did cover a lot there. So we're going to dig into a little bit more detail on some of them, definitely. But I think what you said, and I really agree with, is that, agents right now, a lot of them are not kind of treating their business like a business. And the fact that you
Mhm.
mentioned that with the clients that you guys work with, you want them to have a specific goal. and how to work
Mhm.
towards that specific goal. I think that's super important. So I think that's something that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier in our previous
Mhm.
conversations as well. But would you just kind of touch on, what's kind of like the state of the industry today and what you're seeing with a lot of these agents who are, they're not necessarily treating their career, their business like a business, but how you guys can actually, help that and why it's important to treat yourself as a business instead of just, kind of skating along and winging it.
That's such a good question. And hopefully I don't go on a tangent on this because this is one
It's all
of
good.
my passion points. Because here's the thing, we realtors, we love referrals and referrals are amazing. But if you were to go up, and we have lots of conversations with realtors, so we get a lot of realtors that say, I only talk to or want to speak with people that are referrals. But if you were to go to any other business in any other industry and say, I want to grow my business double my income or triple my income, but I don't want to spend anything to get clients, people would say to that business, you're crazy and you're not going to get there. So why do we think that as agents or people that are in this type of space that we can grow predictably just through referrals? Now, don't get me wrong. I love referrals. Referrals are the easiest people to close. They're the easiest people to talk to. And secretly, I think that's why agents like them so much, because they don't really have to have a good sales process to close them. But that's another topic for another day. But I'm saying that to say is any other business model, or any other business, if you wanted to double your business, you wanted to have a 6-figure, 7-figure business, whatever your goals are, if you were to say, I don't want to spend anything on to get new clients, they would literally look at you like you're crazy. And so that's where we have to take that approach of, like you said, that's a mindset shift of, we had a person reach out to us that they were only doing referral business. Then they looked at their year of what they spent on referrals. They realized they spent between $30,000 and $40,000 that year paying referral fees. So that's where and he reached out to us because we're not a pay per referral business model. And he reached out to us and said, hey, I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to double my business this year, and I don't want to pay $50,000, $60,000 in referral fees. So can you guys help me? And now we're working together and saving him money in the long run. And so that's where I feel like a lot of agents, we have to get over that hurdle of, this is going to cost me money right now, because it actually is going to cost you money, a lot of money, when you look at your year and date. But that's where I see people that agents that are more mature in their business savviness and their business knowledge, they always see the long term. And any business owner, they always see the long term impact. Like, yeah, I could, pay 35-40% in a referral fee and not invest anything, or 12 months down the line, I'm going to pay $40,000. But if I pay something up front and have a consistent system that brings in things consistently, then I'll have a scalable and predictable business. And that's one of the main things that agents talk about. And that's a pain point, is that there's no consistency and there's no predictability. But yet, if you look at a lot of these agent systems and there's how they produce their opportunities, the way that they go about their business is inconsistent and not predictable. So again, it's taking sometimes the emotions out of it and just looking at it like how you would look at just any other business, and like, what's the pain points here? What's the problems here? What can I fix to build something more consistent, more predictable to get me to that goal? And a lot of times we have these goals of like, I want to double my GCI. I want to get to 5 transactions every single month. That's great to have that goal. But do you have the systems, and do you have the pipeline to be able to get there? And like I said, it's amazing just to say a goal, and maybe you'll hit it and you'll be lucky. But I don't like to leave things up to luck. I like things that are predictable and things that I know are going to produce what I want it to produce. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. But I just feel like there's a lot of agents, like you said, that don't think about it as a business. And that's not to for me to like judge people or say, you suck. No, like we all have progression and we all have to grow, and understand if we want to grow it to and be an actual business. If it's a side hustle for you, then that's great. Like just keep it as a side hustle, take referral fees, do all that stuff. But if you're wanting to build a legacy and you're wanting to build a business that helps yourself and helps other people reach their goals, then you have to change your mindset about it.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely just starts all in how you're looking at it and how you're treating it. Because once you treat it seriously as a business, like you said, you begin tracking a lot of your numbers as an agent. And
Mhm.
that's where you get that predictability. Because I think it was one of the, I forgot who says this quote, but what you can measure is what you can manage. If you don't measure it, you
Mm.
can't manage it. So it's like you said, it's great to set a goal, but most people are just throwing it out there in the universe, hoping that it will land and stick, and wishing for it instead of actually going out there, um, looking at what they're doing, adjusting based on what their goal is, and then actually trying to reach that goal, as well. So it's actually really well
Exactly.
said.
And it's like the famous saying, as basically the definition of like stupidity is like you're doing the same thing but expecting a different outcome. And so that applies to anything. And one of my favorite illustrations of tracking your numbers is you go up to any Olympian or any professional athlete and you ask them what their numbers are, how fast they can run a lap, what's their time on the lap, how many strokes can they do per lap. They know their numbers to a T because they're professionals. And real estate people, you are professional salespeople. Like we're all in sales, like whether you realize it or not. People can say, "Oh, I'm just here to help people," but at the end of the day, you're still a salesperson. And so, all great salespeople track their numbers and know their numbers. And so, that's really like and even in business, like how foolish would a business person be if they didn't know their income and their profit margins and all those things. So it's the same thing with real estate. And I think just because the space is there's a lot of agents and a lot of different theories and a lot of different get rich quick stuff out there. It's not practical and it's not realistic. And so you have to know your numbers to, like you said, to know where you can improve and grow from there.
And I think, I mean, and you can kind of speak on this as well because you've talked to obviously a lot of agents and had probably some difficult conversations as well. But do you think, the reason why a lot of agents don't like looking at their numbers is because it's almost like reality hitting them when they kind of see that they've been
Absolutely.
wasting their time?
Well, it's like if I mean, same reason I sometimes don't like looking at my numbers. I mean, I'm not saying this as I've never had the same experience, like I got on a call with a potential coach that I was looking to hire, and he told me, pull out your numbers, and I was like, I think it's 20%. I'm not sure, and then we literally calculated it, and it was significantly lower than that. Was that a shock to my ego? Absolutely. But since then, I knew, okay, there's a problem here. Let me hire someone to help me fix it. And then I did, and our percentage has consistently gone up by significant amounts. And so it's the same in real estate. It's going to hit. Once you really figure out, what your conversion rate is, how many people are actually in your pipeline, and then take a percentage of that of your closing rate, and like how many people can you actually close this year, like based on what you have right now. That's probably going to be a brutally honest conversation you're going to have with yourself, but you're going to be so much better because of it, because you're actually going to know what's the missing link, and then how can I hire someone to do it or do it myself to help me fix this. So yeah.
Right, exactly. And I think I mean, sometimes it can be a gut punch, like you said in that story, right? Where, it's like reality hitting you in the face, but without kind of going through that almost that shock, that pain, there's no way to actually improve your numbers, right? You have to know what's wrong to know how
Mhm.
to fix it. So it's crazy that, a lot of agents don't like to track their numbers. They're more treating it like like themselves being as the only, and it makes sense because real estate agents work, by themselves. Maybe if they have an assistant or so, a virtual assistant in another country, but really the business is themselves. So sometimes
Mhm.
it can be like a personal they can take it a little bit more personally, but that's the only way to improve. And
Hmm.
kind of speaking on that as well, I mean, obviously, I think one of the things I like to say is that if an agent wants to kind of like improve and change their numbers, they need to be doing something new, or they like to be, they need to be experimenting with different things. I mean, do you agree with that? Like, was that also what you think as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you need to be finding ways that make sense for you. And, you know, um, I don't always recommend, one way for every single agent. Every person is different, but, you have to find something different to solve the problem that you're wanting to fix. So I totally agree.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that thing that you were saying as well. Like, insanity is when you do the same thing and then you expect different results. So,
Hmm.
the way to improve is to just try something new, and like you said, it can be scary, and because
Hmm.
it might not work, but that's the only way somebody can actually change what's been going on and change the numbers
Hmm.
in their business as well. So, I mean, kind of.
Absolutely.
Yep, kind of going on like almost like a different topic. 'Cause I'm sure there's a lot of agents listening now that with their current experience will want to know the answer to this. But talking about tracking numbers and looking at data, what is your suggestion for newer agents who are just starting out in the industry, right? They want to treat their business seriously, but they don't necessarily have the funds or the data to kind of look back on. So what is something that they can start doing now to kind of build up the good habits so that later on they'll have the foundation built and can improve from there?
Absolutely. It's a great question. I always recommend people that, of course, we work with agents and help them get opportunities in the pipeline for them. But I try my best not to work with people that have never closed a deal before because they're not at a place where it makes sense financially. And the sales ability, and there's so many things that go into that. So I'd say for you, for each person, like figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are and be honest about it. And then where your weaknesses are, there's so many things you can do. You can find a coach, find a mentor, find someone that is good in that area to help you. And a lot of times, like if you're in a group, that also helps a lot of people when they start out. And once you get, I would say at least like 10, 15, 20 deals under your belt, then you need to start looking at where's my area of magic, like, and that's something that I look at as for me, when I start growing the business to where I can't do everything, where is my area of magic? Where's that area that I want to dedicate more time to and outsource and hire out other areas of my business so I can dedicate more time to this? And that's where you really start to see the growth. And people and business owners that just do everything, you have a cap. And people don't like to acknowledge that, but you do. You have a cap of what you can produce by yourself. And so once you get to that point, I would just say, look at certain things like if you're not really great at, digital marketing and lead generation, you need to find someone for that area. If you want a transaction coordinator, take that off your plate so you can focus on what you do best, which is hopefully talking with clients and showing homes and going on listing appointments. That should be where a large percentage of your time goes. And then obviously referrals, events, and things like that. Find your area of magic and outsource other things so that you can dedicate more time and energy to that. And because it's your area of magic, you love it and you enjoy it and it fuels you. And so that alone is going to make your business grow because you're operating in your area of magic 90% or 80% of the day. You're always going to have those tasks that you just need to do, and they're not super exciting, like checking emails and things like that. But majority of your day should be dedicated to those income producing tasks, which for an agent is is showing homes, going on listings, appointments, and talking to clients. So that's the next step. But before you start that, I definitely recommend, starting with your sphere, starting with your inner circle, starting with prospecting, and then from there, hire out what you don't like to do as quickly as possible.
Wow, I love what you said there. That you the area of magic. That's That's
Hmm.
I love that. I love that how you phrase that, because that really is what an agent what agents need to be doing, is that they need to find out essentially what is it that they're doing right now and what their time is worth. So would you suggest that, or is there a formula that you think an agent should be using, essentially based off their commission income every year, to kind of figure out what tasks they need to be outsourcing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it's different for every person, but for me, something that I try to do every single month or every single quarter is I have this sheet that is a box basically. And in those boxes, I have several different categories. I have what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what I like to do, and what I don't like to do. And so I categorize my tasks in those different categories. And from there, I know what I need to outsource as soon as possible. So, what I don't like and what I'm not good at, I outsource those first because those are eating at my energy, they're eating at my ability. I do them because I have to right now, but those are the first things I'm going to outsource or automate. Those are the two things too that's really key. Either to offload tasks, you need to outsource it to a company or automate it. And there's so many different options with both of those to really automate and outsource a lot of your mundane tasks or things that you can outsource for, a marketing agency or something like ISA or whatever. So yeah, that's the first thing you want to outsource. You want to put tasks and categorize them. So what you don't like and what you're not good at, outsource that first, and then you can move on to what you don't like but are good at. Because if you don't like it, even though you're good at it, it's still eating away at that energy. So that's going to be the next thing that you want to outsource, and then the next thing from there is things that you do like but you're not good at it, and then the things you want to keep for the longest is things that you're good at and that you also like. And so keeping that on a consistent basis is going to be key for your business. And this, like I said, this is something I try to do every single quarter for myself, for my business. So I know and that those things are going to change as you grow and develop. So just because you say one thing that you don't like and you're not good at previous quarter, that's probably going to change the second quarter and the third quarter. So keeping that list, so you know each month and each quarter what you need to be outsourcing next.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I think everybody should be taking notes right now who's listening, and, block out some time to kind of fill out your quadrants, right? Because once you figure out these four quadrants, it becomes really easy, and it kind of takes that energy off of you to try and make that decision on a judgment call, versus now you have, like you said, like a trackable formula to know which tasks you need to be outsourcing, so that you can focus more of your time and energy onto the areas of magic, right? I love that word. I love that
Hmm.
phrase that you
Hmm.
described, because most people call it income producing activities, but you're calling it the areas of magic, which is essentially, where
Hmm.
the agent goes out and, they make their magic, right? With their
Hmm.
time and their effort. So I think that's something that everybody needs to be doing right now. So, and
Absolutely, it's so key to growth and self awareness. Because for example, for me, there was one thing on my list that I liked and was good at, and then now that's switched to something that I don't like but I'm good at because of the volume that I'm having to do it. So that's the next thing I'm going to outsource or automate. And so that's really keeps you growing and developing and keeps you knowledgeable about where the next step is in your business. So,
right, exactly. And, just for a lot, I know you talk to like probably hundreds of agents throughout your career and your business. So, I mean, what is like, and I'm sure you probably get the objection of costs, or what do you think like the biggest objection is for agents who don't want to outsource? Because I mean, I'm sure you know a lot of agents, and I know a lot of agents who just, they seem to be doing everything on their own, and not outsourcing anything. Do you think it's just like a control thing, or, we can kind of talk about it a little bit more, but do you think it's more
yeah,
like a confidence thing where they don't think they can actually make back their investment on, of their money?
it's good. I get that objection more than any other objection. And I think anyone that has a service of any sort gets that same objection more than anything
Yeah.
else. So There's a couple things that it could be. It could be lack, not wanting to lose control. That's definitely a part of it. It could be lack of confidence that they're going to get their ROI. And I think that there is another section where it's just people make decisions based on fear. And so that's just, you have to really locate yourself now. And that's something I ask people that are on a call with me is like, are you confident in our system, or is it that you're not confident in yourself? And that's a tough question to ask. But at the same time, we really have to understand, where the person is at and why are they not where they want to be. Like, why are you not there right now? Like, if you want to be at, you know, 6+ figures in GCI, like, why are you not there right now? Like, we really have to do some deep work. And for agents that do everything themselves and don't outsource anything, don't trust anyone. Oh, I've tried this lead generation, I've tried this thing. And they just are, forget it. I'm doing everything myself. I'm gonna go back to my original thought on that and say that you have a cat. And a lot of times when you start to do everything yourself, you become your own worst enemy, because at the end of the day, you don't have anyone, you're limited to your knowledge, you're limited to your beliefs, and you're limited to your experience. And so, for example, like me, someone that's had 5+ years in marketing experience, maybe you've only had a couple months in experience, you're going to see that in your results and what you get in terms of ROI. Anyone, and I tell people this on my calls all the time, is anyone and their mom can look up how to do a Facebook ad, how to do a YouTube ad. Like, that's not the hard part. Um, that's not the part that's really difficult. But again, because of my experience, 5 years, and the amount of money that I've spent on we spent on these platforms, like over $100,000 on all these platforms for generating buyers and sellers, you're bringing that type of system into your business. Imagine how much faster you're going to hit your goals versus you just Googling something for, or YouTubing how to run a Facebook ad. And how long is that going to take you to figure out? And so there's a lot of things, like in terms of, money objection, but really the main thing is that, and you have to understand this as well in a business, is understand what's an expense and what's an investment. An expense is something that takes away money from your business. An investment is something that adds to money, adds money into your business, into your bank, into your GCI. So if you, and this is something that you have to think about in ROI, if you invest, let's say, $3,000 a month, but one closing gets you $7,000, $10,000 a month, you're over doubling your investment just by closing one deal. Now, most of our agents will close more than one deal a month, but I'm just saying that to say, just by, closing, let's just say you close one deal in 3 months, you've already made money and you're already getting a return on your investment within 3 months, and 2xing, 5xing, potentially 10xing your investment. Now, if you were to take that investment, and just say a real estate investment, that's an insane amount of return for a real estate investor. So, but that's the problem is if you don't view it as an investment, then it'll never make sense math wise in your brain. But if you view it as an investment and are confident in your abilities, then it's a very easy justification in your mind, because you know that with your sales ability, and then you just getting a little bit more opportunities in the pipeline that produces a direct ROI that's doubling, tripling your investment. So like, I think that's the main thing, is understanding you can't think about investments, oh, it's going to cost me this per month. It's costing you that. It's costing you way more to not have something in place for that. Like, think about how much ROI you're losing by not doing something. And it's adding to your business. It's not taking away from it. So I think that's a mindset shift that you have to go through.
That's huge. What you said about, not doing it is actually costing. So that mindset shift is huge for a lot of agents, I think. where they need to be going down, like you said, sitting down and actually sitting down, doing running the numbers, right? I mean, just sitting
Mhm.
down and actually doing a side by side comparison.
Yeah, and that's something that, we do with, people that we talk with, on the call. It's like, let's run the numbers together. Like, if you close 3 deals, like, let's say your conversion rate is this, we bring in this many opportunities. You close 2, 3 of these deals, you're already 5xing your investment. So that's something that we run through with our clients, so we both understand, what we expect in terms of ROI and how this is gonna work. And once you have something that's laid out and is, proven in front of you, it's simple. And that's something that I like, that you just said, and that's a business terminology is opportunity costs. So like you said, if you can wait a couple months to do something, but if you were to add, let's say, 3 closings in those couple months, how much is that costing you actually? And that's what we call in the business world opportunity costs. Like, what opportunities are you losing by waiting and by not implementing what you know that you need to implement and get started with right away?
Yep, exactly. That's what agents are not looking at, right? And that's the way to actually sit down and treat your business like a business, right? So, and in
Mhm.
terms of like, some I'm sure some listeners are going to have this question as well, but in terms of specific numbers that you guys are helping track, and in your opinion, what is the most important? If I mean, obviously, there's no one number that people can just track and forget about the rest, but for those starting out, right? Somebody might be in the business for a while, or they might be starting out, but if there's one thing that they can sit down and just track, what would you suggest is something that they start with?
That's really good. I would say start to track your closing
Mhm.
percentage. Um, and I would also track the number of deals you have in your database or your pipeline, number of opportunities, and multiply that by your conversion rate, and you can kind of see what you should be producing. If it's not enough, then you need to add more to your pipeline. And not just add anything to your pipeline, you need to add qualified, real leads to your pipeline. And so those are the first two things I would definitely track. And then, because then with your closing percentage, you can understand uh, where some of the difficulties is in terms of, you know, closing deals. And then, like I said, just work backwards and figure out what you're tracking for those.
Yep. And there's something you said in there that I think should be touched on as well. Because I don't think a lot of agents understand, especially when they're starting to just get into, maybe working with a couple of different marketers. And that's, the quality of leads, right? So I think, for those who
Hmm.
don't understand, right, what's kind of like the difference between like a good quality lead and like a bad quality, we call it the shared leads, right? What's kind of like
Hmm.
the difference between that for those who don't know?
Yeah, yeah, my this is my bread and butter. So like really quality is well, I would say quality is subjective as well. So what I'll say by this is like for us, the thing that helps agents the most is when leads are exclusive. So they go directly to one agent and one agent only. Number two, they have filled out some sort of qualification questions. So, for example, they put in their phone number, their email, their location of their property if it's seller, their if they've been pre-approved, it's a buyer, what their budget is, all those things, and we add those qualification questions. So it filters out people that are just clicking on random things and not really qualified. Um, and then there's different parts of our process where we have even our sales people qualify for them and transfer them to the agent, things like that. So that's really important. But I would say the basis is just knowing where these leads are coming from. When you're starting to invest in leads, where are these leads coming from? Are they coming from a third party like website? And they're a lot of companies use bait and switch methods. So it's like people click on things, but they don't know that they're inquiring to speak with an agent. So know how these companies are getting the opportunities. Like, are they using, like we use our own clients' social media profiles to run campaigns through. So it has their picture of the agent, so they know that they're inquiring to speak with an agent, and knowing the full process. If you understand the full process and you understand how they're getting the opportunities, how they're vetting them, how they're calling them, booking the appointment for, if you understand all those things and it makes sense with your business and where you're wanting to take it, then do it. But the problem is a lot of these huge companies, they just, throw out the big promises and like, oh, we're going to get you this, we're going to get you that, but you have no concept of how that's working or how that's generating those opportunities, and that people think that they're not qualified. And I'll take this from another perspective as well. It's a lot of agents, I think sometimes when we talk about qualified people, they want people that are ready to sign a buyer's agreement and a listings agreement right when you first meet them. That's not practical. Okay. So like, when people, for example, let's say when you go to, look in a store, you're looking to buy something in a retail store, let's say a clothing store. When a salesperson comes up to you and they ask you, oh, is there anything you're looking for? A lot of times, 95% of the time, what are you going to say? Oh, no, I'm just browsing. But that person is looking for something. They're just having that immediate rejection or that immediate pushback because they don't want to be sold to. So your job from that point, if it's a good clerks person and like, oh, okay, that's all good. I totally get it. You're just looking. What exactly are you looking for? Maybe I could help you find it. Okay. So like there has to be more digging and prying in that point. It's like figuring out what exactly they're looking for. That's just their immediate pushback because they don't want to be bothered. Same thing with real estate. People that are looking for buying homes or looking to sell their home. If they say they're just looking or they're just curious what my home is worth, I'm just looking and seeing what's out there in the market. Oh, no worries. That's totally fine. Like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what exactly are you looking for? Like, maybe I could help you find it quicker. And so I think sometimes when qualification comes in, people have unrealistic expectations of like, I want someone that is no questions, no pushback for me, and just is ready to sign a listings agreement and buyer's agreement right now. You may get some of those, and those are great and easy, but everyone is going to have some of those initial conversations. And you also have to think like with, leads that come from any online source, like they don't know who you are. Like they don't know, I have never had a conversation with you. So you need to treat it like it's an actual conversation, not like you're just trying to get something signed and check it off the box. And so that a lot of that goes back into the sales process with people. But I think that having realistic expectations, just to recap, is number one. And then number two is to understand when you invest in lead generation or digital marketing, like understand how the process works and how they're actually capturing, following up, nurturing the opportunities and all those things. So you can understand how your business is working behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely need to know that. And then you did mention something else that I really want to quickly touch on. Because I know you don't have all day for this conversation, but the sales process. So you mentioned it a couple of times. I just want you to kind of touch on, what you believe the sales process is that you kind of help your agents through and what you're seeing as kind of an issue for those agents who are mostly focused on referrals or untrackable business as well.
Yeah. So, like I said before, most people that only want referrals maybe don't have a solid sales process. And I don't want to, like, when we're talking about, with all this stuff, it's not just like, oh, if you are like this or you do this, you're not a bad agent. Or we're not saying that. Like, all I'm saying is like, there's a better way and a better path forward, and I always like to, my number one passion is just to help agents as much as I can, and not just any agent, good agents that produce value for their clients and just need a little bit of boost in their business. And so I just want to make that clear. But yeah, in terms of like the sales process, it's a huge part of the agent's business, because we could bring in all the opportunities, all the golden opportunities we can possibly produce. But if the agent doesn't know how to close them, how to book an appointment with them, how to close the deal and make them an actual client, it doesn't matter how good of a job we do. We're not gonna see the GCI that we want to see. So that's where we really work with an agent when they start out is like, okay, what is your sales process? Like, how do you go about having a conversation with someone? Like, for example, there was someone that, wanted some help with that. And so I booked a call with them. And we just talked about, okay, like when a call comes in, how do you approach that conversation? What's the first thing that you say? Like, okay, I realized that they were just really, not making a connection with people. And that's, at the end of the day, like sales and what you do, it's all connection based. And so, we what we did was we trained them on like how to have a conversation with these types of prospects and these types of opportunities and build a connection, and then move it to the next step of that process. You're not trying to sell, and this is understanding, you're not trying to sell when you first get an opportunity or a lead that doesn't know you, that has never spoken with you, but it's an opportunity. You're not trying to sell yourself. You're trying to sell the appointment. And so the appointment, what you can do on the appointment is sell yourself. So it's understanding the process. And so if someone comes in, they've never had an appointment with you, never spoken to you, like, and then you just have that conversation of like, okay, you're just looking or you're searching. Let's schedule an appointment just so I can see if we can help you or not, and show you some properties in your area, or let me just come, to your house and just show you what potentially your home could be worth. And then if it makes sense for you, then we can move on to the next step. So people try to like sell them when they're way over here, but there's a step and there's processes that people go through to build trust with people. And so be okay with taking people on a journey. Be okay with not closing the deal on the first call, because people have a lot of choices, especially with agents in basically any area you're in. If you are an agent, like in any major city or any, like, unless you're just in a podunk town, people have a lot of choices when it comes to agents. And so you really need to differentiate yourself, build a relationship as soon as possible. And that's ultimately what's going to succeed in a closed deal. So yeah, just taking it by take the process, own the process. If you own the process will be good to you.
Wow, that's powerful. So yeah, so with the agents, you can invest like Kaitlyn said, this is an investment, but at the end of the day, you do have to put forth the effort yourself as well to go in and make this successful. It's a partnership. It's not
Mhm.
a guarantee by any means. So just like with any investment, the stock market, and with agents, we talk about investing in real estate as well. It's not a guarantee. You have to do due diligence. You have to actually put forth the effort in as well on your side of the partnership for all to work out. But that was super great having you on the podcast today, Kaitlyn. For those people who are listening that want to learn more about what you do and want to reach out to you, what are some good ways that they can either find you on social media or reach out to you directly?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was a ton of fun. I love
Yeah.
talking about real estate and all of that good stuff. But yeah, basically, easiest way to connect with me is on my social media profiles. So I will link those, but mainly Facebook right now is what I'm using. So Facebook or Instagram. So yeah, you can find me Kaitlyn Webb on Facebook. Same with Instagram, and I'll link YouTube and all the links in the website below. But yeah, Facebook, just reach out to me, even start a conversation, and I can kind of show you if we can help you or not. I'm going to be honest, we don't take everyone, but it's at
Yep.
least worth a conversation to connect. I always like talking with agents, even if I can't help them now, maybe I can help them with one piece of information that will take them to that next level. So I always love speaking with new agents, and people that I haven't met with or talked with before. So definitely reach out and just say hey on Messenger, and we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, guys. If you guys are thinking about reaching out to Kaitlyn, I definitely suggest you do. I've had a couple of conversations with her, and she is an awesome person to sit down and just have a chat with. So definitely suggest you guys reach out to her. But again, Kaitlyn, thank you so much for spending some time out of your day to be on this podcast. It was super fun for me as well, and I'm sure the listeners got a lot of value out of it, and will learn a lot from this as well. And for those listening, if you guys want to reach out, make sure you do. I will leave the links down below so that you guys can find it in the show notes. But if you find some value out of this, make sure that you guys are actually sharing this podcast with anybody that you think can, can benefit as well, and you think this episode can be helpful. But other than that, thanks again for being on the show, Kaitlyn. And for those of you tuning in, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next show. Take care, guys.